Wait, am I actually streaming now? Wait, I think I'm streaming now. There's no audio. Wait, what? Okay, there's video now. Okay. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Let's see. Okay, there's video now. Okay. Okay, I'm streaming now, right? Okay. Hi, everybody. It's been a while. It's been a minute since the last stream. It's actually crazy, honestly. Just wanted to stream here. I'm working on like some project for school. I felt like, why not, well, sorry. Why not, stream this, yeah. Like some progress on the live stream right now. Could be cool. Just wait. Hello? Okay. Yeah, I didn't even change the stream title. Wow. I haven't streamed in like so much time that I actually don't even know how everything's supposed to work. Anyhow, let's just see. What do I even name it? Code.org. Yeah, so basically, my school project, well, it's not even a project. I'm just doing it like as a side thing, I'm just creating my own sort of project as I'm like doing a course. So right now I'm taking AP Computer Science Principles, and so um, the school is following this course on code.org, and I decided to make my own project along the course just to like learn stuff. I mean, I'm already pretty experienced in programming, would say myself, but I think the project's pretty much so yeah, I'm like, yeah, let's make a project. And so yeah, what better than a pixel editor because I wanted to really make this a couple of times back then. I wanted to make a pixel editor, then got time for it, and so yeah. Let me check audio is actually good. How do you want to clone? This is all good. I don't even know. Oh wait, it's not him. Science and technology, and then okay, I don't know what. Interesting. Okay, I don't even know what this is. Let's just leave it at default. I'm gonna check if the audio is good, so apologies. Let's see. I think it should be good. Audio is actually good. Yeah, I think this is all good. I don't even know. Oh wait, it's not him. Okay, maybe the audio is a bit bad. I apologize. Let's see. Let me try and. Oh yeah, never mind. Let's just leave it at default. I'm gonna check if the audio is good, so apologies. Yeah, I think it's decent, right? Okay, I'll leave it at now. I'll mute it for now. Okay. Alright, I don't even know if like I did a proper introduction, but anyhow, welcome everybody to the stream. I guess I'll start right now, even though I already introduced some stuff. Basically, taking AP Computer Science principles this year, and along the curriculum, I was like, hey, let's work on a project. And so I'm making a Clear editor project, because I was like, I'm gonna finish the lessons because I already have a lot of experience in programming, like for a while, honestly. And so a lot of the curriculum is pretty straightforward for me. And so I was like, you know what? Let's make a project in the meantime, waste time, get something in, yeah. And so we're making a pixel editor. And right now, okay, so I don't know if anybody of you used code.org, but it's basically, let me actually create a new project just to like show like the fundamentals. It's sort of like Scratch, I guess. I don't know. Like it's not really like Scratch, but it's like a Scratch for UI sort of thing, right? Like you have components that you can drag. You can, there's buttons, there's other stuff, text inputs, right? You can change like the properties right here. You have like the color button, right? Very straightforward. And then you have events, which you can connect with code, right? So, and there's block mode as well, but honestly, I use text mode for full flexibility. Uh, and yeah, this is basically like JavaScript. So, and I'm pretty sure this is basically like JavaScript. I don't know if there's like an on-event in JS. I don't use JS that much, honestly, but essentially you link up the ID of component or element to an event. There's like a I don't know why that. Or I don't know, man. There's supposed to be like a list of events that pop up here, but and right, you have like function rights. Yeah, but whole point of code.org is that it's like a simplified playground to like create like UIs and like applications that are for mobile and like anywhere basically. But yeah, and at the same time, what I figured out was that App Lab in code.org, this build App Lab, goes really far beyond just being a simple like Scratch for UI. Like as you could say, I don't know why. I'm just using Scratch for UI because I can't think of a better term. But anyhow, you can actually like embed like HTML like directly into your application. So I spelled it wrong. Sorry. Inner HTML, this is a function, and you select the element. I don't know why autocompletion is not working all of a sudden. Kind of weird. Oh well. This is given the like screen one, right? The screen, it's called screen one here. So screen one, the ID, and then you can put in any HTML. So we can put in like a button for him, or just this slash p, and just to like hello, correct, your classic HTML. If you run this, as you can see, you have hello world printed here, or from the tag here. And you can have even more stuff like like I said, button. Like we get to put up here, like click the button, right? You have a button now, right? And obviously, this inner HTML is basically replacing all the content of the screen, so that's why you don't see these buttons and this text input. So actually, I'm just gonna read these for now, so it'll cause confusion, right? This is just an introduction, I feel like. So like, explore like why I'm making this pixel editor. I don't know when I'm gonna stream, but hopefully just here and there, just when I have time. So yeah, but yeah, so we have this world click, and we can also do styling. So we have set style, and everything in AppLab, these like inner HTMLs and styles operate on IDs. There's no classes, sadly, or at least not that I can figure out or get to work. So yeah. So we can, for example, give the text ID of like text, right? And here go here, text ID text, and we can set style. Now I think it's what text code. Be wrong. Hopefully I'm not wrong. Okay, color here. And yes, you see, yeah. And so this is crazy because now you have full DOM control of HTML, full style control with CSS, and you're already using JS. So all of a sudden, something that just seemed simple as a Scratch for UI is now a complete like game changer. You can do full flexibility. There's a couple of restrictions in AppLab, however. For example, if you want to do like HTTP requests, from what I know here, there's the let's see, start web request function, but the start web request function is limited to only a certain amount of host names, right? So you can only make requests to these specific websites. Yeah. So it's a bit limiting. But I think that's not a big problem, especially because what I'm doing is a pixel editor. So you don't really need, at least I don't think you need too much um, HTTP or pixel editor. So yeah. Anyhow, given that we have full HTML control, full CSS, and JS, by the way, something that I figured out that's just sad is that classes don't work in this version of JS. I'm pretty sure it says ES5 of JS. I don't know if it has classes, but basically classes don't work. Like even though it says that this would work, if you run it, errors, so yeah. Luckily, that's not a big issue. You can still just use names of fix or like this for wait, that, and then you can have like functions like name function, and this is basically the same to some extent of like the function. That's right. Functions. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. OBJ. Set. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm sorry. Okay, whatever. You get the go right. Like, I'm sure there's ways to like. Yeah, there we go. We have. Okay. We can basically like create quote unquote functions or classes and objects, right? Despite not having classes. But anyhow, that's the least of the issues, right? And honestly, it's quite flexible. You can probably do anything. And what I've done here is I've created some abstractions to make writing this HTML because writing raw HTML is kind of crazy, especially in the strings. And worse yet, you have to do like on events. Screen one, right? Stuff like, oh, here are the events, by the way. Classic JS events, I think. I don't know. Click, I need to fair, right? So I've done some abstractions here to basically make it so you can just set these as properties. So you query the ID of an element with the named ID, and you have this special function, the class spot. Now all of this I took inspiration from another library called Sem. This thing here, created by IMF, and so I've essentially took inspiration from this project. It has its own system. So you basically create your HTML or stuff, your elements, and at runtime you can get the elements with a special $sign function, and you can assign like the events as properties instead of as using the on event syntax, which can be a bit too verbose in some cases, right? So yeah, and yeah, all right. So I have a button right now, and what I wanted to do now is actually right now I have a bit of a mess right here. Let's see. Well, what is even happening here? Oh yeah, okay. No, I also made a like okay, something I kind of don't like about this whole environment is the fact that you can't organize your logic into files. Now I understand this is supposed to be like it's like a just like experimental like, playground, I guess, sort of environment. But it's kind of sad that you can't have like files or your project into multiple places and can modularize, right? So right now what I've created this is this really funny way to create files, quote unquote. Just making use of this collapsible blocks. They can like collapse to like show or hide data inside like a scope. And so I'll just use that to create files. So as you can see, we can open this file that has all this stuff. This is all the functionality for like the $sign syntax for styling, for like setting the properties of the element. And yeah, and then we also have this system. They can create elements like divs with the ID main, buttons with the ID click in this case, and we can and have this document.compose, which is something I worked out right now really quickly, just a couple hours ago. Essentially what document.compose does is it takes your elements. I feel like this first stream will just go over some of the stuff I already worked on right now, and just sort of so that I can stream better later on. Because I did do a lot of work already for, starting this whole stream session, right? So this document.compose this compose function essentially takes the HTML of an element and just places it. It just inserts it here. So as you can see here, the document has a div, it's right. So div main. And then inside here, I added a button through the document.append, and inside I have tool pixel, which is a button, right? And so the button isn't here, right? and we can like nest elements, right? So this is like your typical like when you have like a div and like your buttons and whatnot, right? You create your complex layouts. And the way of doing that right now is very, very simple. Essentially, this div just returns an ID with ID and the start. Select the start tag. It's basically just the name of the tag, the ID, children. The children are the other elements. Essentially, they're essentially other copies of this inside the children vector. And then the end tag. And then we have these helper functions, append and copies. And the compose function, all the compose function really does is it initializes empty string. And for each element, it just goes into the children element and it just runs the compose function for each of them. And then it adds the result to the body. And so basically this is a very cool thing because we're basically calling the compose function recursively, sort of, like from the child node all the way to the parent node. And for each child in the parent, right? Hopefully that makes sense, right? And then we're just returning the HTML. This is the start tag, the body, and the end tag, right? And so for like the bottommost component, the one that's like the child component, the very bottom, it would just be a button. Body would essentially be nothing, and then this would just be the closing tag, right? And so if then div has this as a child, get the body, get this whole thing from the button, and it would insert it as a body. And so that's what's happening right now. And yeah, so this is basically allowing me to create an HTML document structure, which is more cleaner without having to write raw HTML. And I think that's so far everything I've gotten over to accomplishing so far. I did do one other thing. Let me just let's see, here we go. So there we go. Yeah. We have this semi-working pixel art editor. Like you can definitely draw pixels right now, and there's this grid that draws grid. But yeah, we definitely still need to get color working. I'm gonna have a. This was before before I discovered that you can use raw HTML code lab, and so I was just gonna try and make a selector for all the colors, which is crazy, I know, but you can't really. This is quite a small amount of elements that you can have, right, for a complex application. So, but now I know you can have raw HTML, so I think I'm gonna use an input color picker, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. But yeah, I don't know how long I want to make the stream. To be fair, I kind of just wanted to introduce the whole project that I'm working on. Let's see, maybe I should do some. Let's see. Okay. Generation. Okay. I think maybe, yeah, by programming, I'll sort of understand the paradigm that I created here, like the whole system. And well, I didn't create this, like I said. This was all inspired by Sam, the package that I showed before the library. Really, really cool. It's part of a lot of the backbones for all this, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Like this. So what I wanted to do right now is create like a array of buttons that just pop at the top. Icons, right? For like each of the tools for a pixel editor. Like you have like your pencil tool to draw pixels, you have your paint bucket tool to fill pixels, you have eraser, you have eyedropper, you have a lot of different tools to draw your art. That's sort of what I wanted to do right now. Although I do not know how to do that right now. Let's see. Uh, I don't normally use HTML in my day-to-day life, so I'm gonna need to Google those. So let's see. What I was thinking here is to use a radio button instead of like the typical circle, to use a image for like the icon, right? That's what I was thinking of. And then I was also trying to get like the icons to work because Apple app has like the system to like. Let me just show you. You can choose so set image URL of this element, which is this click, which is the button that you see when I run this project. Or it's crashing because I need to this button essentially like so it has like icons that you can use, right? Image URL, or you can use the button. Here has like a nice set of icons, which is really cool. So yeah, but sadly, I don't doesn't work for some reason. On Apple app itself, it's sort of like here I have the menu, sort of like the hamburger sort of icon. I think I don't know what it's called. FA bars apparently. um, it says I don't know, man. Whatever. Okay, but essentially, yeah, you can have icons, right? So what I'm gonna use here, I think, is gonna be Google Material icons, which is a very nice setup of icons. Right. Oh, let's see. Uh, Rare. Let's see. I think it's just this, right? Add this link rel icon search. Okay, let me just see if this works on. Let's see. We're just gonna, insert it here because I don't know what to do. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Gonna do a lot of this in here. Yeah. And then we have to add the image obviously as well. So essentially, let's copy this. Right now we're working with raw HTML because yeah, but later we'll make a to create these spans easily. Oh, this is a class. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I did do something wrong here. Alternatively, I can just download icons, which is what I was gonna do. But yeah, look at this like it's like yeah. Oh, wow, my laptop's fan is turning on so much. Okay. I don't know, I thought the audio was gonna get a bit bad because my laptop turned on. I thought the audio actually like almost the same. Alternatively, I can just download icons, which is what I was gonna do. But yeah, look at this like it's like yeah. I feel like the audio I need to fix because I don't know, I need to speak more louder. It's turning on so much. Let's see. Okay. I don't know, I thought the audio was gonna get a bit bad because my laptop turned on. I thought the audio was like almost the same. Alright, whatever. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna all the images insert them because yeah. I don't know. You can insert SVGs. Let's see. If I go to here, manage assets, upload file. I don't know if like, okay. For SVG. Let's see. SVG is always good. Structure. Apologies, I'm gonna need to take a picture. I'm gonna need to take a pause here.